Okay, getting back to our first guest speaker. We are talking about a full colonel by the name of Dallas Hack. He is also a medical doctor and has a master's in public health. I just want to take a second to briefly introduce him. If I were to read his bio, folks, we would be here all night. What an amazing man. Dr. Dallas Hack is the Chief Medical Director of Access Global Sciences, where his primary focus is expanding the knowledge and application of nutritional ketosis into human nutrition. He is acknowledging that while ketosis has up to this point been achieved by either starvation or a difficult compliant ketogenic diet, Dr. Hack has been on the leading edge of working with how exogenous ketones can help induce and sustain, with the results being the capture of significant benefits science has discovered. During his long military career, Dr. Hack achieved the rank of full colonel and was the director of the U.S. Army Combat Casualty Care Research Program. He's also the chair of the Joint Program Committee for Combat Casualty Care from 2008 to 2014, where he coordinated more than 70% of the DoD Combat Casualty Care research program to improve battlefield trauma care of those injured in combat. The list and what he has accomplished is literally endless. First, I want to thank Colonel Dallas Hack for his service, for his many sacrifices to ensure our freedoms. I assure Dallas Hack that we here at Green do those freedoms for granted. We are honored and humbled to have you on the call tonight, Colonel Dallas Hack. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to turn a little time over, and perhaps along the way I could ask you a few questions and have you share that information with us tonight. But on behalf of all of our Forever Green distributors, certainly in North America and worldwide, we welcome you and we honor you, and we're so grateful that you could be with us tonight.
Oh, good evening, everyone. I am really pleased to join all of you to discuss this exciting opportunity to help people regain their nutritional energy balance. You know, that bio, it's been an honor. It's been a tremendous honor to have served and to have had the opportunities that I've had. You know, a coincidental event midway through my career kind of changed my life. You know, I accepted the position as the director of all military medical services in the Middle East, and I literally arrived at my duty station in Kuwait the day before 9/11. And obviously, my life and the rest of the world changed that day. And I saw a lot of bad trauma, a lot of brain injury, a lot of PTSD, and a lot of things that really made me committed to trying to change these conditions that became such a problem for the military, but actually were very under-recognized in the civilian population as well, and a tremendous amount of work is needed in that area. I was extremely privileged after coming back from these assignments to be given the responsibility of directing the trauma research program, including the brain injury research. And it's amazing to me that myself, as a little farm boy from Saskatchewan, had the opportunity to come and lead a program where we actually committed over $2 billion in medical research funding over these last 7 years. And for me to be at the leading edge of the world's brain research for these years. It's just been a tremendous learning opportunity. I love learning every day. One area that I have found particularly compelling is the impact of nutrition on brain health. As part of my research in the area, I became aware of the work at NIH funded by DARPA particularly that of Dr. Richard Veach, who has been working in this area of ketones for more than 20 years, and the work that the Navy had funded at the University of South Florida, conducted by Dr. Dominic D'Agostino. In particular, Dr. Veach researched the impact of ketone supplementation on performance athletes in improving their energy sustainment during competition. As way of background, you've heard some of this before, but it seems so intuitively obvious once you look at this, but it's why it's counterintuitive to so many people is still something we have to get to educate them on. Throughout most of human history, mankind has not had a sustained food source. And so we've alternated between feast and famine. During the feast times, we would consume large amounts of food and store that excess food as fat, which would be consumed during times of famine. Every single cell in your body contains a type of small structure called a mitochondria, which is the energy plant in that cell that your cell depends on to stay alive. These mitochondria normally use glucose during times of plenty, when glucose is available in the blood. But interestingly enough, they find it even easier to use the ketones that your liver produces from the fat stores during fasting. Nowadays, most people don't ever get to this ketogenic state and use just glucose, which, if consumed in poorly restrained amounts, leads to the obesity problem that the nation and the world faces right now. From a medical standpoint, ketose has been used to treat seizures in children for 100 years. But it doesn't stop there. Experiments have shown that by protecting the mitochondrial energy plants in the cells, ketosis should reduce brain injury, reduce free radicals, reduce the cellular aging, reduce cancer cell growth, reduce inflammation, and improve brain function in many areas such as Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease and Lou Gehrig's disease, what are called ALS. If you just think about it a little bit, if you think about the primal man and how hunting the woolly mammoth, you kill the woolly mammoth, you gorge, you sleep for 2 weeks, and you go out and hunt another one. When do you think you'd want your brain working best? When your stomach is full or when it's empty? Well, it turns out the brain works better on ketones, which is what happens when your stomach is empty, than when your stomach is full on the glucose. One cautionary note, though, I want to be a bit careful because we really have to mind this one. For the time being, we need to be careful not to make advertising claims that ketones treat these conditions, because we have to do some clinical trials in very specific ways required by the Food and Drug Administration. Some other, Nestle and some other groups have gotten into some problems with that, where they've made claims for things before they did those trials, and the FDA made them stop that. But we do know that we can raise and sustain ketone levels, and that ketones do help your cells work better, and they are part of a truly balanced nutrition plan that is part of the natural human cycle. Although during my career, the last few years, I've worked to advance the fielding of ketone nutritional products for at least the last 4 years, no one to date has achieved a palatable product that average people would consume. And as soon as I became aware of the extensive work by Access Global in this area, I realized that they had cracked the code for a fieldable product as that part of the entire production process. And for the first time, I found ketones that tasted good. yet had all the advantages of raising and sustaining ketone levels. Now, as I end my military career, I am very excited to be joining Access Global as the Chief Medical Director, and will be working just as hard as I did during my military career to improve everyone's health by enabling them to regain their natural energy balance without having to go through the extreme difficulties of fasting or complying with these difficult ketogenic diets. Now, for the first time, natural nutritional energy balance can be achieved by products such as the Ketopia program, opening up these benefits to the masses, and we can truly make a difference with a lot of these conditions. I could go on for a while longer, but I'll be glad to answer questions either now or along the way, or even in seminars as you go through this product.
Colonel Hack, thank you so much. Again, we're just absolutely humbled and so grateful, knowing your schedule, that you would take a few minutes out of that very, very busy schedule to share with us tonight. And thank you so much for sharing. I do have one question for you, if I could.
Yeah.
You know, oftentimes we hear this term exogenous, and we hear exogenous use of ketones. How valuable do you think that will be in human nutrition as we move forward? And what is exogenous, and how would you best describe that?
One of the interesting things is that your body produces ketones in very high levels, and that's endogenous ketones. And it has not being able to take ketones in your food, in your drink, in your whatever, added as a supplement, has not been really. There are not many natural ketones out there, and the ones that are have very low levels that don't give you really a high enough level in your blood to make the big change that you need to get to the levels you need. Exogenous, it's basically, what's interesting is that through various processes, through pharmaceutical chemical processes, we can produce this beta hydroxybutyrate, which is the molecule name for ketones. That's the product that your body can take in and just use, or we can take the other portion of this medium chain triglycerides, and your liver can produce it from there as well and give you a sustained level. So exogenous means being able to consume drink or food or supplements that you can get to those ketone levels without having to go on these extremely difficult ketogenic diets, which basically, the best ones of those are where you consume no carbohydrate, you consume high amounts of fat and a little bit of protein. But with our whole grocery agribusiness environment that we are in, it's very, very difficult to get that extremely low level of carbohydrates and trigger your liver into the ketogenic state, keto-adapted state. And so having a product that's relatively easily consumed at a price that's reasonable, that people can take and still achieve the benefits as if they were doing this almost impossible ketogenic diet, brings those benefits to the masses.
Well, that's a great answer. Thank you so much, Colonel Hack, for sharing that.